In this video, we're going to be talking about making HTTP requests in React app. In a React app, so we basically have a very basic app, a very small app where we have a movie list, right? And this movie list has a component called movie, and this movie is basically just a card. And this card has a title, release date, opening text, etc., which is passed through to the parent movie list, which is also passed through these props to the app.js. And in the app.js, we can see a couple of things. So first of all, we're using an API, and this API is gotten from this URL. So I'm just going to copy that URL, and I'm going to go to my browser. And in my browser, I'm going to paste that URL, right? Just show you where I got the API from. So this is where the API is from. This is just a sample result. This is just a sample result, right? So let's go to the documentation. So basically, using APIs in React is almost the same thing it's almost the same with using APIs in normal JavaScript. So in normal JavaScript, you can use the fetch method, and we can also use we can use the fetch method, and we can also use Axios, a package called Axios. So in this case, let's just start from here. We can see that we have a function right here called fetch movie handler, and this fetch movie handler is the on click of this button, right? And we notice that we have a try catch block over here, and I also handled errors. So this if statement here, and we can see const response await fetch. This is async, normal async awaits in JavaScript. You can see async, you can see await, which basically is used. Basically, if you don't know anything about async await is used for functions or methods that might take some time to get a result. So like in this case, when you're calling an API on the web, the results might not be returned immediately. So therefore, putting this async await kind of tells your code that before doing anything, wait for this to happen. Because if this does not happen and you move on to this next one, there will be an error because response will not exist. Because if you notice, the response is gotten from the result of this fetch. So if this await is not there, and the code runs directly and moves to the next line, response is not going to be available. It's not exist. It will be null. So therefore, there might be issues with the rest of your code. So this async await is very useful when you work with asynchronous code. That's code that takes some time to execute. So basically, we have the results right here stored inside this console called data, and this data has a property called results. This data is an object, and this object, let me just show you. Let me console the log data. So console the log data, and if we come here to our code, we can see this array, right? You can see this array. So we have data.result.map. So basically, this array is from results, and we're mapping each of them, right? So we have the ID to be movie data.episode ID. If we open this array, right here, we can see episode ID right here. And that's what we're taking as our ID, same with title, opening text, and all of that. So knowing how the map method works, it basically returns or calls this function for each and every item inside an array, as I've explained in my previous videos. So down here we can see that we're catching some errors, or we're throwing an error in case the request does not go through and all of that. So yeah, that's basically it. There's also a part of the code I want to call your attention to. Okay. Okay, notice my use effect over here, where this use effect is useful because I do not always want to be pressing or clicking on this button, that is this button over here, for this thing to show. I don't always want to be doing that. So basically what I did is that with these use effects, use effects, whatever is put inside the use effect is called first time when the component loads. Then if any of these dependencies in the array changes, it is called again, as I explained in my use effects video. I won't call it story, I'll just call it a video. Right? So that's what is going on down here. There's a place I put a, okay, it's not in this app. So basically this is just how to basically use an API in React. It's almost the same to um with normal JavaScript, apart from probably this states. We have its loading state, an error state, and we have a movie state. Let me show you something about this movie state. So first of all, you can tell that the movie state is an empty array, right? And now after we've called the API, we've arranged the data into our own object, and this object is put inside an array called transform movies. We're not setting movies to transform movies, right? We're setting these movies to transform movies, and this transform movies that is then going to be rendered. That was now going to be rendered. So I'm just going to show you. So we can notice that we have movies, and these movies, click here, it goes up here, and now these movies, which is up here, which is a power of the states, is now equals to transform movies right here, which is an array of objects as we arrange the data here. So it's just a very simple app. I don't know if I've explained it properly. I would have typed along, but I was trying to understand how it works, and yeah. So if you want to take a look at the code yourself, the code will be available in my GitHub repo, which I'll put in the description of this video, so you can go and check it out. Yeah, that's been it. Thank you very much.